Hey guys, Brett here. So another good question today. So what happens if you bought a property under joint tenancy? In other words, you own it, say your husband and wife, and one of you dies. What actually happens? Is it a case of, the mortgage, and assuming you got a mortgage on it? So what happens with the mortgage? Well, basically what will happen is the company will effectively write to you and say, hey, we need to reassess and we need to look at your affordability. Now, if it's a buy-to-let, okay, the rent is what really matters, so it shouldn't matter too much, all right? But with the way things are going these days, they're making it harder and harder, to keep mortgages and to do all these sort of things. So they probably will make you jump through hoops, but the reality is, I've just had one where I've basically had it as my own property, and I had to change it. And effectively what they did is they made me literally fill out a form, and on that form it said, how much rent do you get? Does the rent cover the mortgage by 130%, I think it was? 135%, and it did, and so I haven't heard back from them. So I sent that off, had not heard back from them. So that's more than likely what's likely to happen. I mean, the reality is if you had this thing for a few years, you're going to be paying for it, and it's a buy-to-let mortgage, then it's not a problem. Now, if you have a shortfall, then they may come back and say, right, you need to remortgage, you need to reapply, or you need to effectively pay down the mortgage. So they may give you some options, but the reality is, I wouldn't be too worried about that. They're not going to cut it too quickly, but you may just have to sign it. And especially if it's cash flow positive and it gets that 130 or 35% around their coverage, then it's likely to be fine, and they'll just let it pass. No problems whatsoever. But obviously, they will require the solicitor to convey it from you, but that'll all be part of the estate and that sort of thing process. So it'll become your property, and then they'll normalise the mortgage by having all the stuff in your name and stuff, things like that. So that's the general thing. All right, guys, have a great day. Live with passion.